Welcome to the stream, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I've got an exciting interview for you all today. I'm really excited about this one. If you followed the channel a little bit, we have done some interviews with some other fellow Mounjaris, as I call them, other people on the Mounjaro journey. A lot of the interviews that I've done have been with guys. And so I'm always excited to do a woman on the Mounjaro interview. And the other thing is, a lot of the interviews that I do with other people who are on Mounjaro are not type 2 diabetics like me. So there's a lot of reasons why I am excited to introduce Patrice Williams. She has a channel over at The.Patrice.Denise. I think there's some periods in there. We'll make sure that we link her in the description, Patrice.Denise. But yeah, we'll link her channel in the description so you can go over there and give her a follow. She has got a super unique channel, and I'm excited to bring her in today and talk to her a little bit about that. Patrice, welcome.
Hey.
Hey, thank you so much for doing this. I'm so glad that you came on the show today.
No problem. I am honored to be on the Man on the Mounjaro's channel.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is probably the most favorite part that I have about what I've been doing on YouTube, is just getting to know other people who are on the same journey. And gosh, what I'm learning is there's just a lot of great people out there, and I am so excited to have you today. I've been following your channel. I wouldn't say there's one channel that I follow super religiously, because I'm so consumed with making content. When I'm not like you, I think you have two little ones, right?
Right. Well,
okay.
And an older one. She's 22.
Oh, do you? A grown one. Okay. All right. So you got 3 kids. We know, and I know that you're super busy, so you probably got the same deal going. And you work a couple jobs too. So I got, obviously, this full-time job. My wife is at home with our 4 kids. She does the homeschooling and the whole bit. So it's very hard to follow, but I have made an effort to keep up with some select channels, and yours is one of them. I love your channel. I think the cool part about your channel is, like, you just kind of started on the Mounjaro journey a couple of months ago, but you've got some nourishment on your channel, I'll call it. You got some nourishment for the mind, the body, and the soul. You got some videos that are kind of like, well, why don't you tell me about it? Tell me about why you started your channel, and kind of like the flavor of what people can find over there on your channel.
Right. So I started back, I think, in 2021, and it was going to be weight loss. But then I started to incorporate my family and just living life and helping others, being it mentally, spiritually, and as well as physically. And I even had a little dabble where I went on a cruise, and I did some episodes of me being on the cruise. But just bringing others together, bringing awareness to others, and helping somebody along the way. I just love helping.
Awesome. And that definitely shows on your videos. So you started, so first of all, solidarity. We're both type 2 diabetics. I feel like we're kind of in the minority on YouTube of people who use Mounjaro. But tell us a little bit about your journey with, as it relates to the medicine that you've used, and kind of what led you to being on Mounjaro ultimately.
So I, back in 2020, I went to my doctor, and he said my A1C was 10. And I was, taking care of other people, putting other people first, and kind of in denial about it. But then he started me on Ozempic. I started at 0.5 milligrams, and I saw how that worked, and it was doing a great service for my body. And we continued on, and I trended up to 1 milligram, was on that for about a year and a half, and my A1C went down to 5.7, and it was hanging there at 5.7, 5.9 for about 6 months. And I wanted another push, because I want to be out of the pre-diabetic range ultimately. And we wanted to go up to 2 milligrams on Ozempic. Well, when I went to fill the prescription, it was out of stock. So I researched, and I looked to see what else was out there, and I found Mounjaro. And I asked him, could he switch me over to that? So
Yeah.
we've been
And
here.
I think that I saw in your video that you did the research, you read about Mounjaro and you took that to your doctor. Is that how it worked?
Right. And I'm actually talking about that on my video this week. That will post this week about being an advocate for yourself, doing your own research. Yep.
Yeah. Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's we talk about that a lot on Man on the Mounjaro. It's just we need to advocate for ourselves. We need to do the research. And I had a guest on Friday Night Live, Michelle, and she said, the thing is, some people don't know how to do that. So one of the things that I like to do is give information, and that helps people to know how to advocate for themselves. Now, you have a super unique channel, because on my channel, there's a little bit of my personal journey, nowhere near as in depth as a channel like yours is. I'm starting to dabble a little bit more into that side of it with members on the channel, but you do a really nice blend of incorporating information into also your journey. It's just such a unique channel. Tell me about like how was that a really organic thing that it just kind of happened that your channel became that way, or are you more of a calculated person and you're like sat down and planned it?
Definitely didn't plan it, no. But I'm a teacher at heart. In my previous profession, I was a teacher, so I like to educate others. And I normally don't say this, and you probably know from other videos, but I am a nurse, and I like to educate people in that spectrum as well. And so
That all makes sense. That is a really cool combination for a nurse, to be a nurse, but also to have been a teacher, because you really can help people in your day-to-day life advocate for themselves and educate them. That's super awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, that's a backstory, but I fell in love with nursing through my daughter, who I probably started with gestational diabetes with her when I was pregnant. And so that's probably what led me on to become diabetic after that. But because of her, I went to nursing school after being a teacher for 7 years. So
wow, that's a big change. Yeah. A lot of schooling.
Right.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, my wife also, with our 4 kids, was gestational diabetes as well. So even before my diagnosis came in 2021, and I had just the background of kind of walking through that journey with her with each pregnancy. Just okay, here's a list of foods, and I would eat keto alongside with her when she was pregnant, just to help her and help her keep her sugars down. And never would have known that ultimately I'd be walking that journey myself. Right. Just a couple years later. So yeah. So a couple questions that I have, because one of the big things right now with folks that follow my channel is that they are maybe started on Mounjaro, then between the shortages and the coupon changes and all that, they're having to switch over to semaglutide, obviously the weight loss version, the Wegovy. So for those out there that might be watching that are making the move from Mounjaro, Tirzepatide over to a semaglutide, whether it be Ozempic or Wegovy, can you tell them like what the difference was in weight loss? Did you see a lot of weight loss on Ozempic, or were you on a low enough dose that it wasn't like necessarily therapeutic in that way?
Right. So I started at 0.5 and only got up to 1 milligram. So for me, it was more about the blood sugar control. I was during that time trying to actively lose weight. So I did lose weight. I lost 25 pounds during that time, but I wasn't, I didn't attribute that to Ozempic, because I was actively trying to lose weight. But in the end, now that I'm looking back, I do think Ozempic had a big part in it, even though I wasn't at the 2 milligram dose.
Yeah, I think one of the real big eye openers for me in this is that, and I don't want to bore you or the readers, so I'll try to be brief, or watchers, because I'll try to be brief because I shared this a lot. But I tried really hard to lose weight, especially once I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. A doctor put me on keto. I did it religiously, and the weight just would not come off. and he's got like 600 people in this program. He's like, you're one of like 4 or 5 people that just won't lose weight. And I think the eye opener for me is that what I've learned is that when you're really metabolically unhealthy, it is actually very, very difficult to lose weight. So I don't know if that's kind of what you're alluding to, is that like the Ozempic was maybe kind of resetting your body in that way a little bit. I don't know how you were metabolically, but certainly type 2, something's off.
Right. I mean, well, I had I was starting at 10 as an A1C, so I had a long way to go. So of course it probably was helping in that way first, and then along the way the weight loss did come. So yeah.
I'm curious. In your whole journey, in your visits to your doctor, have you ever had your insulin levels checked, like the level of insulin?
No, I believe I am somewhat insulin resistant, just from what I've read and what I've researched on my own. But no, that's a good question, and I might have to ask him about that in May when I go back.
Yeah, I'm just curious for a lot of people, just anecdotally, that struggle with weight loss. They're like, well, because I'm kind of a firm believer at this point that the non-diabetic people lose faster. They shed their weight faster on Mounjaro.
I'm noticing that too. I'm like, I mean, I'm only at now I say only
Yeah.
loosely, but I am at 12, 13 pounds in 11 weeks, and I've seen people who've lost 50 pounds.
Yeah, they're like 50. I lost 50 pounds in 2 weeks. They're like,
right,
wow.
right. I'm like, wait,
Good for you.
Pounds?
Right. It's very easy to compare, but yeah, no, those are great results. And I think I'm sitting somewhere. I have a lot more to lose than you. I'm a big, heavy guy, but I think I'm at 27-ish pounds in 3 months. Right. So I got a month jump on you and more to lose. But I know, like, for a lot of people, and I've been at the 15 milligram now for a month, so I know a lot of other people that are losing weight faster, but there's some who are like, well, I'm losing slower than others, and I'm wondering just about like, hey, maybe go get your insulin levels tested, because I think that's what my kind of belief is. My loosely held belief is that the more insulin resistant that you are, and you don't have to be type 2 diabetic to be insulin resistant. Your A1C might be great, your sugars might be great, but that might be because your body's cranking out a ton of insulin to get that job done. So my encouragement to some of the viewers, if you're looking at it and you're saying, well, I'm losing slow, if you're losing, that's the right direction. It's not, it's never going to be fast enough. But if you are concerned about, maybe your response to a GLP-1 medication not being as good as maybe even the trials, is probably the best way to stack up, instead of looking at other people on social media. But maybe look at the trials, and if you are actually a slow loser on the GLP-1s, maybe have that insulin level checked, even if you're not type 2 diabetic. And if you find that your insulin levels are high, and I'm not sure what the test name is, but there is a test maybe it's called the HOMA-IR score, something like that. Anyway, look it up if you're watching, and maybe look at talking to your doctor about that. So another question that I have is, how have your blood sugars been on Mounjaro versus Ozempic?
Good question. So I started Mounjaro sitting at about 120s, 130s fasting in the mornings, and now I'm down to, like, my lowest this week was 80.
And that's your and when you wake up?
Right when I wake up, yep. No matter if it's 5 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock in the morning, whenever I wake up, I just go check it. And it was 80 this week, and I haven't seen those numbers ever. So even on
That's amazing.
Even on Ozempic.
Wow. So when you're running a 10 A1C, when you first got diagnosed, you were probably running over 200 for your your morning.
Yep.
Yeah. So Ozempic got you down to the 130s, which is pre-diabetic, like you said. Or maybe, I don't even know where it's right near the cutoff, at least, for diabetic, pre-diabetic. But Mounjaro's brought you down to the 80s. Now, that's one thing I did notice, Patrice, is when I started Mounjaro, my sugars as soon as I took that 2.5 dose, that evening, my sugars were like lower than they normally were. And then the next day, for sure, they were down even a little tick lower. So my sugars responded really well right away to Mounjaro. The weight loss really didn't ramp up until I hit the higher doses, but that makes sense based upon the trials too. So awesome. Couple other things that I was just curious about in watching your videos. So you have to be you work a couple jobs, you got a couple smaller kids. I noticed that you do a lot of your reflecting in the car, which is funny because I'm the same way. Like the drive time is kind of like the processing time. How do you manage to balance putting out good content, because we both know it's time consuming? How do you manage that and everything else?
That's a great question. I just try to give what I want to see. So if I know I'm doing something, or if I know I have a little time here, I try to record here and there. I also, on top of that, help my church out with their recordings and their YouTube and things like that. So I kind of just think about what others want to see, and I record at that time. But I don't know how I manage it all. That's a good question.
I don't either. If you don't, then I'm certainly not going to figure it out.
I just do it. I love it so much because I love helping others. So I do it. My family is very open. My daughters, they're trying to do YouTube channels as well. So cool. We all love technology. So
I know my little ones, every time they turn on the TV, like my youngest is 2. His name's Benny, and he'll see the YouTube pop up and he sees my picture and he goes, "Are you doing the Mundawo? Are you doing the Mundawo?" So, and my older 2 boys, they've got little cameras, and so they're always like making fake YouTube videos with them. So I know they're picking up on a lot of it. So that's cool.
They got for Christmas cameras. So
yeah. Yeah, I'm not giving them devices yet, but they can have these little cameras and they play with them. That's for sure. It's awesome.
I try to do it as best as I can. It is very hard. It's very hard. So I don't take it lightly, and others should not either. But I try to give what I want to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that your video, you just did the one, was it yesterday, that you were shopping at Aldi? Right. And I was like, yep, I buy that. So that's helpful, that a lot of your videos or content is just you in your day. Right. You know, for the videos, the styles that I do, I kind of have to sit down and I have to be in front of a camera, and then I have to, we all have to edit it, but like, it's just a little bit, I'm finding it tricky to find a good balance, right? I want to be there for my family, and I also want to be there for the community, and just finding that balance. Maybe the trick is incorporating a little bit more of what I'm already doing in the daytime, so I'm not segmenting out that time specifically. But you do a great job with it. I know that your viewers, I mean, a lot of our viewers are the same. I've noticed a lot of the same commenters, and so I know that people are loving your content. Again, the channel is at The.Patrice.Denise, just like it's spelled out on your picture there. Anything else you want to say to anybody? Any other social media call outs that you have? You do other social media besides YouTube?
I started an Instagram and a TikTok, same handle, The.Patrice.Denise, but there's nothing on it as of yet. But I work on that just to reach other people on those platforms.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, check her channel out. Thank you so much for joining today, Patrice. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and maybe we'll do this again sometime.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Patrice. The.Patrice.Denise, one of my favorite YouTube handles to say out loud. The.Patrice.Denise. It just rolls off the tongue. I love it. She is such a delight. I'm so glad that she joined the stream today. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure you go over to her channel at The.Patrice.Denise and give her a channel a follow. She's got such great videos. They're very unique. There are a lot of other channels. We've highlighted a couple of them that are very journey focused. She has a really unique way of blending not only her life, the things that she eats, the exercises that she does, how she handles all that with the other poles in her life. It's just a very relatable format, and it's super informative too, which I appreciate. Especially if you are a type 2 diabetic like Patrice and I. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channels, and we'll see you on the next stream.
It looks like we made it.